In 12th century England, your destiny is forged the moment you take your first breath. You're not born in a castle or even in a town. You're born in a cramped hut, surrounded by dirt, in a village no map even bothers to name. Your parents are peasants, not by choice, by inheritance. And that's what you are too. Not a son, not a dreamer, a worker, a cog in the nobleman's machine. From the beginning, your life isn't yours. It's spoken for, promised to the land and to the man who owns it. You learn early that survival doesn't mean living. It means not dying. Each day starts before dawn. Chickens shriek, pigs grunt, and the cold air bites. You fetch water from a muddy stream, chop firewood with blistered hands, and if you're lucky, there's bread. Rough, dry, and barely enough to satisfy the hunger gnawing your insides. Once a month, your family might afford vegetables. Fish? That's a rare miracle. Meat? You'd sooner see a unicorn. The nobles feast while you watch, mouth dry, belly empty. Everywhere you look, life is hard. The farmer breaks his back. The washerwoman scrubs until her skin peels. Even the village priest has calluses. There is no glory. There is no escape. And then, your father tells you a secret. One night, while tending the fire, your father stares at the flames and says, "There's another path for you." You blink. That can't be right. There's only one path. Work the fields, die young. But your father tells you about an old friend, a blacksmith in the city, a man who forges swords, armor, tools, things nobles actually pay for, a man with wealth, respect, and most importantly, a man who has agreed to take on one more apprentice. Your father looks you in the eyes and says, "This is your only way out." The next morning, with nothing but a worn sack and your mother's goodbye kiss, you're on your way. The city is another world, loud, filthy, and alive with the kind of chaos you've never seen. Merchants scream, horses trample, people bump into each other and never apologize. You try not to stare at beggars with missing limbs or at nobles who ride past like gods on horseback. The forge is worse. You expected something calm, something noble, but it's a monster. Smoke chokes the air. Sparks fly like fireflies in a storm. The walls tremble with hammer strikes, and the heat makes you feel like you're walking into the mouth of a dragon. You barely have time to step inside before a massive man shouts, "You, change your clothes, get to work." That's it. No greeting, no name, no kindness. You're handed a soot-covered tunic, thrown a rag, and just like that, your new life begins. Forget forging swords. That's not for you, not yet. You're fetching water, carrying coal, cleaning soot, burning your fingers, burning your lungs, burning away every illusion you ever had. You sleep on straw in the corner of the forge. The heat is unbearable during the day, and the nights are colder than a noble's heart. You get one bowl of soup per day. If you don't work fast enough, no soup. There are no second chances. Every other apprentice wants to see you fail. One kid, Richard, tripped you carrying coal just to laugh when it spilled. Another, James, accidentally stole your bread. You don't complain. Complaining makes you weak. You watch, you listen, you memorize. You copy the older apprentices until your hands remember things your brain can't explain. And through it all, you survive. Years pass like seasons, melting together in sweat and pain. Eventually, your work changes. You're no longer just fetching and carrying. You're shaping things, tools, nails, even bits of armor. Your strikes become cleaner, stronger, more precise. The hammer becomes an extension of your arm. One day, your master nods at a blade you've sharpened. "You've got the hand," he says. It's the first compliment you've ever heard from him. It might as well be a crown. At 15, he calls you over. He looks older now, softer somehow. "You've learned the craft," he says. "Now choose. Stay here, earn your wage, build your name. Or leave, become a journeyman, travel, risk everything, maybe make something of yourself." You hesitate. Comfort is tempting. But then he adds, "If you survive, I might take you back. Might." And that's all you need. You roll the dice. Being a journeyman sounds heroic in stories. In reality, it's survival. For weeks, no one hires you. You sleep in gutters. You beg. You work odd jobs, sharpening knives for street vendors, repairing spoons, carrying crates. Once, you sleep in a pile of hay behind a butcher's stall. You pray it's not a toilet. You're hungry, ragged, alone. But then, your first break. A farmer needs a plow repaired. You do it for a bowl of stew and a place to sleep. The next job comes a week later, then another. Slowly, painfully, you scrape together enough to rent a room, buy proper tools, get clean. You forge not just metal, but name. Years pass. You travel town to town, perfecting your art. You learn to temper better steel. You study advanced patterns. You craft weapons that gleam like moonlight and slice like whispers. When you finally return to the city, you don't knock on your old master's door. You build your own. Within a year, your forge is buzzing. Apprentices come to you now. Nobles send messengers. Even generals want your blades. You're not a beggar anymore. You're a name whispered in halls of power. But power comes at a price. Rumors swirl. Civil war brews in the kingdom. And blacksmiths like you, you're no longer just craftsmen. You're assets, weapons. One night, a boy comes to your door with a warning. A nobleman plans to abduct you, force you to make arms for his army. No pay, no freedom. You vanish. For a month, you live in hiding. When the war ends, you emerge older, harder, but alive. And that's when everything changes. With peace comes politics. Cities begin to form guilds, structures to protect workers like you. Blacksmiths gather, they argue, they vote, and they elect you to lead. Now, you're not just forging weapons, you're shaping laws. You fight to make sure apprentices never go hungry again, that no child is beaten for spilling water, that blacksmiths are treated as craftsmen, not tools. The city bows to your influence. Your forge becomes the heartbeat of the kingdom's trade. You train the next generation. You leave behind not just weapons, but legacy. But time, it always collects. Your hands shake, your back aches, the coughing gets worse. The doctor says what you already fear. Lead poisoning. Years of inhaling smoke, metal fumes, and touching toxins have caught up with you. There's no cure. You're 47. Most blacksmiths don't make it this far. You smile bitterly. You were never supposed to survive childhood. You sit in your grand home. Servants tend to the forge now. Your students teach other students. Your name, carved into stone above the guild. One day, you wake and can't get up. The weight of years finally pins you down. And as your breath fades, the city hums with the sound of hammers on steel. Because your life lit the fire. You were never just a blacksmith. You were the fire that forged a kingdom.